In this short video, we're going to talk about how to set and achieve goals. Throughout the course of the summer, if you want to be successful at your internship, it's really important you set goals for yourself. Without goals, it's likely you'll lack direction and focus and not achieve everything you set out to do at the onset of the summer. When thinking about goals, I think it's important to break down shorter-term goals that are perhaps tied to a project or an assignment given you by your manager, and longer-term goals. So perhaps things you want to achieve or experiences you want to have, skills you want to learn by the time that your internship ends in the summer. So your short-term goals might be very short. They might only last an hour to achieve, and your longer-term goals might take multiple months to accomplish. I think it's important every day to set daily goals for yourself. So I encourage you to do the first thing you do in the office is understand what are the goals I want to achieve before 5 p.m. rolls around. Similarly, I think every Monday morning, it's really helpful to have weekly goals. So what do you hope to achieve by Friday at 5 p.m.? The truth is that not all goals are created equal. And that's why I think the SMART goals framework is really helpful. So every letter in the SMART goals framework is tied to a characteristic of something that should be included in every goal you make. So every goal should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So that means your goal should be clear and well-defined. If it's too vague or generalized, it's not really helpful because it's very hard to measure those goals or to provide sufficient direction on what you have to do. I encourage you to break down your goals into smaller, more manageable action steps and ensure they have precise targets and milestones. This will really help you measure your degree of success. So let's figure out the examples of that. Rather than saying something like, I want to get better at social media, you're going to say, I want to grow my Twitter followers by 25%. Even better, I want to grow my Twitter followers by 25% by August 15th. That is a clear, actionable, specific goal that could allow you, if August 15th rolls around, to say you've been successful or not. If August 15th comes around and you only have one new follower and you say, I want to get better at social media as a goal, technically it's better. And therefore, did you achieve your goal or did you not? It's a bit more subjective. But if you're very objective about your goal and you have a goal of 25% and August 15th rolls around and you have one new follower, I think it's likely that you did not achieve your goal. So another example is getting boba tea with your coworkers. So let's say you set out in the summer and you really want to meet your coworkers and you write down, I want to meet coworkers as a goal. Let's say you have a conversation with one coworker in passing in the hallway. And again, in some ways you've achieved your goal, but it probably didn't accomplish what you actually wanted it to do. So I encourage you to be very specific and say, I want to get boba tea with 5 coworkers over the course of the next 10 days. Lastly, rather than saying, I want to learn programming, you should say, I want to learn basic Ruby on Rails and deploy a new feature by August. So then when that August 15th date rolls around, again, you can say, did I deploy this feature or did I not? It's very obvious you've achieved your goal. A couple other little tips is I would write down your goals. Just the sheer act of writing them down actually makes it feel really tangible and something that helps you achieve it if you kind of set it in that proverbial stone, if you will. After writing down a list of goals, I would also encourage you to write down an action plan. Surprisingly, writing down an action plan is the step that's often overlooked because people are so focused on the outcome that you forget to plan all the steps that you need to get there. But by writing out the individual steps and actually crossing them out as you complete it, you realize you're making progress towards your ultimate goal. After time goes around and your deliverable is handed into your boss or the summer ends, I would encourage you to spend some time reflecting. Did you achieve your goal? Why or why not? And if in the case of that Twitter account, you only got one new follower, I would say, what was the problem? Was it an unrealistic timeline? Was it an unrealistic expectation? Or did you not just stay focused? And I would be honest with yourself, right? So you ideally want to create goals that are obtainable, but that really push, stretch, and challenge you. Another thing I really want to differentiate is between urgent and important tasks. And with that, I turn to Dwight Eisenhower. And as you can see here from his Time magazine covers, he was the man of the year. And he was also the man who beat Hitler, right? So this man clearly knew how to set goals and achieve them. So in reality, Eisenhower was president twice, a 5-star general, supreme commander during World War II, and also the president of Columbia University. And during a university commencement speech, he famously said, I have 2 kinds of problems, the urgent and the important. The urgent are not important, and the important are never urgent, right? So this was deemed the Eisenhower principle. And I actually think it's really helpful to distinguish between urgent and important goals. So an urgent task is something that feels you have to do it now, right? It requires immediate attention. It puts you in this very reactive mode. So you get an email and you feel like you have to respond, right? It's 3 p.m., get this accomplished, right? Maybe it's a really, really urgent task. And I think if we focus on, and those tasks are important, and they're important to get them done, but I think we have the habit of over-focusing on these urgent and important tasks, which means we're always in this responsive mode. And that means sometimes we fail to achieve our important tasks. And our important tasks are things that really contribute to our long-term mission, values, and goals. So at the onset of the week or the onset of the day, when you set out those things you really want to accomplish, these are the things that are important, right? Maybe they're not urgent. In this example, an event strategy, that's something that maybe isn't urgent, right? It's not like by 3 p.m. you have to get the event strategy done or there's going to be a calamity. But if the event rolls around and you don't have a strategy, there's going to be a lot of urgency. So I encourage you to focus on tasks that are important, to remain proactive and remain calm, rational, even open to new opportunities. Right? So if you feel exhausted at the end of the day and you can't really identify anything you accomplish of real significance, it's likely that you're confusing the urgent with the important. So that's why Eisenhower comes in with this Eisenhower decision matrix, which is a really helpful way to think about all the things on your to-do list and how to prioritize them, right? So each quadrant is either important or not important, urgent or not urgent. And you'll see in that top quadrant are the important and the urgent tasks. And these are the things that we likely think we need to focus on immediately. Those are those urgent emails, those urgent deadlines. Someone asks you something to do and they say, this is due by 3 p.m. It's urgent, it's important, etc. Again, those things are good. But what you're really going to want to do is also focus on the focus box, right? The things that are important, but perhaps not urgent. Right? This will help us get out of that responsive mode and focus on some of those goals we set for ourselves. You really want to eliminate things that are not important nor urgent, right? So these are the things, obviously the very frivolous things like scrolling through your Instagram feed all day, right? It's not important or it's not urgent, but also things that could be work related. Maybe it's scrolling through all your old emails or reading every last line of a series of articles that your boss sent you weeks and weeks ago, right? They're not things that are contributing to your great mission and they're not urgent, and you really want to limit those. You also want to avoid interruptions and busy work and figure out a way to perhaps delegate tasks that are not important, but maybe urgent. So maybe you have meetings that you have to attend or you have some emails. Perhaps you can figure out a way to delegate these urgent but not important tasks to ensure you stay focused. So these are just some of the tips that I would encourage you to do when thinking about setting your goals. Remember to set SMART goals, remember to stay focused, and we've added some resources in the hub to elaborate on getting SMART and this Eisenhower matrix. I really encourage you to view. Goal setting is something that's useful not only in the internship context, but just in your life. So I encourage you to get in the habit now. So when you're a full-time employee, you really follow through with the things you set out to do and you achieve your goals.